Sometimes we've had this, come up before, and it's like, oh man, Alex, I can't do my gig. I can't do that because I don't have a big network. I don't have a big influence. I don't know a whole bunch of people. Like, who would I even sell it to, right? And that's let's have that conversation. I'm Gary Engels, CEO of My Gig, and this is Money Moves Only. This isn't a podcast about gimmicks, hacks, or overnight success. It's about making strategic moves that create freedom. Financial freedom, time freedom, and the freedom to build your future on your terms. Now, each week, we sit down with business leaders, entrepreneurs, and experts across industries to explore what's working in today's economy and how you can tap into it. Now, whether you're growing your own income, scaling a team, or just getting started, you're here because you want real, lasting results. At My Gig, we've built a platform that helps everyday professionals do just that. And this podcast is your inside track. Welcome to Money Moves Only. Now let's go build something that lasts. Welcome back to the My Gig podcast. I'm Gary Engels, CEO here at My Gig, and I'm with Alex Babiolakis, our VP of Sales. We were just talking off mic, and I thought this would be a great topic for us to be able to actually share with you guys is, what does the day-to-day look like for a My Gig certified reseller? Because I know that sometimes we've had this, come up before, and it's like, oh man, Alex, I can't do my gig. I can't do that because I don't have a big network. I don't have a big influence. I don't know a whole bunch of people. Like, who would I even sell it to, right? And that's let's have that conversation, because I don't think that, I think that's a misconception. I don't think that you need to have this huge influence of a whole bunch of people in order to succeed here, right? Do you know one person that might, be able to benefit from this? And, I think the idea of a restaurant is a great place to start, right? But where would you start?
If I pretended like I knew nobody, I mean, just, again, I always say, look at like what we do every day as a consumer. Like, what type of products are we consuming? Where are we going? What are we doing? I don't know if this is, you can hear me clearly. But we all go to coffee shops. The average person in America, I think, spends like, it's like $8 or $10 a day on coffee, which is wild. Like, just mind-boggling. Like, they wake up and go to get a coffee part of their day. So
might not be able to pay rent, but coffee is.
But they see the same.
And the phone has got to.
Yeah, but they see the same people every single day.
Yeah, that's right. Routines. We're creatures of habit, right?
Yeah,
have to have my coffee,
And most people, have probably worked in a restaurant before,
Sure.
or they have a friend that works in a restaurant. It doesn't matter if they're bartending, if they're working in the kitchen, if they are serving, whatever. That's a great place to start, because again, you don't need that big network. If you're a frequent customer at a restaurant, you can go in, and I'm sure you know a couple of the servers or whatever. There's some sort of relationship there, and I think people forget, like, business is all about relationships.
Yeah.
And starting there is a great place to start, because they're familiar faces. They know you, you know them, and the conversation is a lot smoother than kind of like a cold call or a cold conversation, or I have to have this big network of people to go out there and create something within the My Gig platform. So I think that's a great place to start. If you've either worked in a restaurant, or you know someone that works in a restaurant, or you know the owner of a restaurant, or whoever, if you have a friend that knows someone in the restaurant business, it's an easy conversation. So, starting out there is great.
And easy conversations and, easy wins like that help us overcome a lot of the fears and insecurities and things like that, right? Because, what fear is we fear the thing we don't understand, right? And I think through knowledge and experience, we can overcome those fears. And that's where I think that you have a conversation with somebody that right? Somebody that you already, have a relationship with, like a close relationship with, meaning, you have a family member that, might know somebody or whatever, can make those connections. And again, you understand when you're not selling, because I think that's another big fear that we try to, help us kind of overcome, was you don't have to sell anything. You're not selling. You're just having a conversation about it, and helping to kind of point somebody in the right direction. like our tax credit that we're talking about with the restaurant, right? And it's a very easy conversation to have. And we're all just like one person removed from that big deal, right? I mean, you might not know the owner of a restaurant in your town, but if you were to open up Google Maps, right, and you were to like just look at within a 10-mile radius, we'll call it, right, 10-mile radius, how many restaurants are within 10 miles of your location right now? I guarantee that's a very large number, right? Okay, so how about within 5 miles from here, right? Start to dwindle it down, right? Okay, great. So out of those, which one, if you had to right now today, to make a connection, you had to pay your rent or to survive or whatever, right? You had to what is that one place that you would go to, and just go take the easy win. Go take what's that easiest low hanging fruit for you to be able to go make that first introduction, right?
Because people they'll look at like the closest Chili's or something that they know that like a high volume place that has a lot of people for this big check.
Yeah,
but you don't need that to make a good amount of money, recovering money for a business. I mean, your local coffee shop would probably qualify even at 3 to 5 employees.
Yeah. I was just thinking about this. I visit this barbecue place at least every week, right? And I'm going to make a commitment right here on this that, as soon as I go back, I'm going to go talk to him, because I have not talked to the owner about our tax credit. And I think it'd be perfect for him, but it'd be very simple, right? Because I know that I pay them tips every time I go in there, right? And so if I do, that means lots of other people must tip them, right? And they pay taxes on those tips because it was on my credit card, right? It wasn't a cash thing, so I'm sure that they're reporting it and it's on there, right? So, hey, you know what? Now that I think about it, I'm going to go reach out to that person, right? And we'll go talk to that. And even if you don't know the owner, who's the person that you go and buy that barbecue from or whatever, right? Who's that person that you converse with, that at that place that you frequent often, right? And maybe they can make that introduction for you, right? Or whatever, right? But the idea is go take action. And so I'll do that too. I'll go take action. What's the one place that you can think of right now that if you had to go home and make one introduction, who would you go to? You don't have to say a name, but what kind of place is it?
Maybe my case is a little bit different because I come from the hospitality business. Yeah. But yeah, I could just like off the top of my head, like the sushi place that we always get sushi from, right down, a block away.
Yeah.
They see the same face.
Do you know the owner?
I don't, but
and
I'll find the owner.
And that's right. You're one person removed from the owner, right? And you know somebody there at the place. You might not even know their name, but you know them. Yeah. So next time you go in there, hey, ask to talk to the owner. Guarantee the sushi restaurant owner would be happy to have that conversation.
I mean, I had this conversation. What was it? Day before yesterday. And it's a friend of mine that recently used to live in Chicago, and he just moved to Tarpon Springs in Florida. And I know that he has built a career just working in restaurants, not as an owner or anything like that, as a manager or a shift manager or general manager kind of thing. And I just reached out to him and I said, I know you're not the owner. However, being in a managerial position, do you guys pay FICA taxes? He said, of course. Okay. Do you guys know that you're entitled to money back from the FICA taxes that you pay on all of your employees? He said, no. Okay, great. So I know you're not the final decision maker, but I'm going to show you a way which you can recover some of these taxes and then, speak to the business owner and we can set up, a meeting and let me see if I can help. And that conversation was that fluid, that easy, and we have a meeting.
Yep. That's all it takes.
That's one person. Mm-hmm. And you don't know. Let's just say you help that business. How many businesses does that restaurant owner know?
Yeah, right.
They go to Restaurant Depot every single day. They speak to multiple different businesses every single day. And we're in the way that we, the world operates is, especially in the business world, if you help someone get free money, what are they going to do? They're going to sing at the top of the mountain about how they got it. And now everyone wants it.
Yep.
Suddenly you just created a pipeline of potential business off of one conversation of a friend that knew someone that you've created a relationship with.
I think that sometimes I think we look at these big deals, like you talked about these big restaurants and the big sexy numbers and the big, what I mean? Like we'll call it a 1,000-foot tall domino over here, right? How do you knock over a 1,000-foot tall domino, right? I can knock it over with my pinky if I have the right leverage, right? Now, if I walk up to that 1,000-foot domino, right, and I hit it with my truck, it's not going to knock over. But if I took one that's 900 feet, and then I have one that's 800 feet and 700 feet, and all the way down to a 1-inch domino right in front of me, right? That's that low-hanging fruit. That's that little restaurant, that coffee shop maybe that I know, right, that I can get that one deal, right? And I can knock that one over with my pinky, and that knocks over the next one, the next deal, and the next deal. And all of a sudden, it turns into something that these bigger deals start to happen because the relationship turns into that relationship, I know that person over this person. You get somebody results with that little tiny domino that you knock over with your pinky, that's an easy sale, right? I shouldn't even say sale. It's an easy deal. It's an easy introduction. They do know someone, right? The restaurant owners know each other, especially, right? So
the restaurant business is a small business, or not a small business, a small world, especially in the local communities, right? Everyone knows everyone. Everyone knows who the owner is. They know who they use as a credit card processing merchant. They know what each person's paying per rate. Like they know everything. The only thing they don't know is the ingredients.
That's right.
And whatever you share with them. But in general, they know enough about everyone, and they have relationships with everyone, indirectly or directly. I don't know any business that if you help them for no money, they won't go and tell someone.
Yeah. What's interesting to me too is I know we talk about restaurants a lot because of this
but even salons,
credit, right? The salons, right? But I even want to go into like other businesses. Like I talked about in a previous podcast, we talked about my dad runs a copy shop, right? A print shop, and I have a martial arts school. Well, how many martial arts schools could use some of these services? Not a tax credit, right? That tax credit is only really for restaurants, salons, cafes, right? Because they accept tips. But I can tell you that, like the martial arts school, my wife was hacked because she didn't have proper cybersecurity and things like this, right? This is something that we offer, right? That we have a whole cybersecurity suite within our buoy system. And that's something that every martial arts school should have cybersecurity protection inside there, right? Or how about something like Incredible, right? Something simple like, do you know somebody that could use help building their credit? Why? Why would you need better credit? Well, think about all the benefits of better credit, right? You get better insurance rates, right? With better credit, you get obviously better financing and anything in the future. You might not be buying a house now, but you will be maybe later, right? Or you might not be buying a car right now, but the time to think about your credit is not the day before you go to fill out the credit application for your new car loan, right? It's now, right? It's start working on this stuff now. Well, for $10 a month, our Incredible system can help you lift your credit, instant boost to your credit by making some connections, and you can learn all about that. But how many people, like that's that little domino, right? How many people could use a boost to their credit?
But it's not just that, right?
There's a little
it's not even just
easy
the boost.
win for you.
It's why are you not getting credit for things that you're doing well?
Yeah.
Like, you ever think about that side? Like, why is my phone bill that I'm paying every single month that's on autopay not being reported as I can pay something down effectively?
Yeah, that's what Incredible is all about. If anybody's
Why?
curious, it's a really simple.
Why isn't my rent, if you can't afford a home yet, or if you don't own a home yet, or you're just in the renters market, why isn't my rent being reported to show that I'm paying rent on time? Like, you deserve that. So it's not even about adding the $10, to have these reported. They should be reported, and the credit boost is one thing, but your payment history is more important. Having that as a tool is, again, not even from a standpoint of, this is going to boost my credit, but this is something that I should have, because it just helps me, and the doors it opens because of not spending power, but the ability to have more wiggle room is give yourself the best advantage, to maximize every opportunity.
Yeah, and that's on a personal credit side. I know there's a whole another business credit side to this, right?
Oh,
so any business probably, most likely you're not really focused on your business credit. I can tell you that I've run a martial arts school for 20 years and I've never even considered my business credit, but I could have really helped it for some different loans and things like that we've done in the past. I never really needed it or thought about it until it was kind of too late, right? That is something that absolutely everybody should be working on their business credit, and and things like that all get reported to Experian and all this, but start to look into those easy wins. What are the low hanging fruits? What are those easy wins that you can kind of help somebody with right away? That, again, you don't need this giant network of all these businesses and all this kind of stuff. And some of you, here might have a large network. And I know we've worked with some really, amazing, well-connected, people that, they have a whole bunch of, instant connections.
That's money in the bank, not from a monetary standpoint. That's money in the bank from a trust standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like you always say, is that small domino. It's, I've helped that person.
Yeah.
Not only do you feel good about helping that person, but that person also feels a certain way towards you being valuable. And now you've created a referral network.
Yeah.
Off of doing one good thing for someone.
Yeah. And you're right. It's your bank account will be reflected, eventually.
That's the last thing that comes.
But what about that trust bank? Yeah, 100%. Go help a bunch of people, with some simple wins. Again, those low hanging fruits, the small dominoes, right? Those simple wins, they will cascade into some really large deals and some large networks. And you might be 3 people removed from somebody who has a large business network that all of a sudden they bring a whole bunch of business your way because of that one introduction. And this stuff happens all the time. And that's what I love about again what we're doing here and what we built is it gives the opportunity for that to happen, even if you don't have it yourself, right? The opportunity is there.
The most powerful thing is getting a referral from someone that you help them, even if it's just something so small.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're coming to you from a place of trust. Like, think about it. If I helped your business get a boost in credit, and you're back home, and on a Sunday you're having some friends round, and you start talking about this boost that you got, and you're now able to qualify for more lines of credit or more spending power for your business and at a better rate too. That person is going to say, okay, well, where did you get that from? Who helped you? They're going to come directly to me because of you, or you're going to make that connection. And the conversation isn't what do you have or how can you help me, or it's okay, what you did for Gary, do it for me. And you help them too.
Yeah.
And then who do they know? And by mistake, they've gone and told a couple other people, and then there's a diamond in the rough there that suddenly a couple deals that you've provided a solution to, you land this huge client.
That's right.
And again, like I always say, you can always change your situation in 90 days of just focused effort, but you don't have to create that home run from day one. If you create enough little wins, the home run naturally comes.
Yeah. I've learned that human beings have this amazing ability to overcomplicate things. Turn a molehill into a mountain, right? Turn things into something much bigger than it needs to be. And so part of like our job in working with people and helping people succeed is just helping them understand the simplicity of what it is that we do here, right? And this is not a complicated process. This is not a complicated business. This is a simple introduction. Here's the landing page. What do you think? It's like that's the simplicity of it, right? And when that happens, all of a sudden there's the cascading effect, right? It's like you help somebody, you truly helped and served somebody, and it turns into the next thing and the next thing and the next thing.
And that fulfillment, like I think there's nothing that beats the feeling of helping someone, because again, like you'll make money with whatever you do. There's always a monetary gain on the other side of whatever deal that you create. But that feeling of like, that relationship, like a year down the line, you see like that business flourish because of, something that you helped contribute to that is irreplaceable. And again, you have a relationship with someone that forever, if you ever come to them with any opportunities or whatever, there's no pushback. There's an unconditional amount of trust.
Yeah. You want to be a hero? Walk into a restaurant, help them get this large windfall of found money that was, already sitting there waiting for them. It's a tax credit that's been around for 30 years. This isn't a new thing, but most restaurants don't know it exists. So all of a sudden you come in and you help them, get this thing set up for them, and they get a check. It eases takes the pressure off the restaurant owner, right? Helps them, maybe, do an addition or something else for their restaurant or whatever. Guess what? You're the hero.
And guess
you get
what?
to be the hero.
Every single year, they're going to come to you and say, you know what you did for the last 3 years? Okay, now we're current. All right, do it for this year.
Yeah.
All right, do it for next year. All right, do it for that. So you have repeat business.
Yeah.
It's not just a one-time thing, right? And then all the other services, like you say, it's, well, if you help me with this, what else can you help me with?
Now you built the trust. Yeah.
Yeah.
That trust and credibility, just from a simple win like that, it just goes so far. And, future business, but future connections and relationships. And something I've learned in business is you never know, like right now, this thing that you're experiencing, whether it's a negative thing or a positive thing or whatever is going on in your life right now, it is setting you up for something in the future. You don't know what that is, though. I have no idea what that is. I mean, we met, in a different opportunity, in a different company before, and, we had a great experience working together, and that's why we're working together again here. And that wasn't the thing, that led us to where we are today, right? Yeah. And, and I've done some other, deals and worked on some other things that didn't pan out, and I'm sure you have too. But it wasn't about that deal working or not working. It was about, during the process of that deal, I met this person that, maybe a year or two later, all of a sudden turned into this huge opportunity for you because of the relationships that we built along the way. And as long as you're always leading with, integrity and respect and true service at heart, and, really, and authenticity, right? And you're just kind of coming from that place of just, you're not trying to get something, you're trying to give something, right? Yeah. And if you were to really kind of, always lead from that place, you're going to start to build a network of positive relationships that may never actually, come to fruition monetarily, but some will, and others are just, people that now trust and respect you because you were good to them and serve them.
I think, the biggest thing is when you go into any business or anything just for monetary gain, 9 times out of 10, nothing good comes out of it.
That's right. Yeah, it can't be the number one driving force. Yeah.
So like, if you're just trying to make $1 out of them just for that, if you do make $1 out of it, it's only ever going to be one transaction, because there's no substance behind that deal. There's no substance behind that relationship or anything like that. When there's substance behind there and there's like a true, motive to help them and put them in a better situation, the possibilities are endless. And I think when you go in with that mindset, things start to open, doors start to open, relationships start to be created. And it may not be something for today. It could be for a year down the line, or 2 years down the line, or 5 years down the line. But I stopped questioning things as far as timing, because everything's supposed to happen when they're supposed to happen.
Yeah. Anytime you've ever tried to force something,
it's not right. It's not meant to be either.
Right. Yeah. I spent a lot of years in jiu-jitsu, right? And this is a big part of my life, and it's the same thing in that. If I try to force that move, it's like, I have to get this move or whatever. It's never going to present itself. Yeah. It's never going to be there. It's the wrong move, right? My instructor was asked one time in an interview, they said, "What's your favorite technique?" And they said, "Well, it's the one they give me," and I think it's such a powerful answer, right? Because, what's your favorite deal with my gig, or what's your favorite, approach to the restaurant, or what's your favorite, what's your favorite
different.
What's your favorite hook? What's your favorite angle? What's your favorite, line, in sales or whatever? It's like, you're coming from the wrong place. You're coming from the place of trying to force something and trying to trick somebody or trying to manipulate them or whatever, right? And if you just come from an authentic place and just having a real conversation, right? You're not trying to force anything. You're literally just, you have something of real value, and you have real value in hand, right? You have everything, right? That's it. You don't have to, you're not making stuff up. You're not coming from a place of fake or faux value, right? It's like,
I remember I got
easy.
Yeah, I remember I got told this, and the truth is enough.
mm-hmm.
There's no need to put salt and pepper on everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when
We've all met those people who salt and pepper everything to the point where it's like you
and
can't
then you
trust
oversell
anything to
something,
say.
and
Yeah.
then it's just you dilute it
Even if you had real value, they
Yeah.
try to overdo it
to
and then
make it sound better.
You
than
don't
it
trust
is,
it
right?
anymore. Yeah, right.
But the truth is enough. So if you just say it how it is, and sometimes it's like, well, he's blunt. Well, that's okay, because if you get what it really is, then
Yeah.
that's you make a rational decision. If it's a yes, it's a yes. If it's a no, it's a no.
Yeah.
But I'm not pressuring you or trying to make it sound better than it is, because then I'm misleading you.
Yeah.
I'm misguiding you.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, especially in the sales world or in the, anything, they get into this convincing game and trying to make it sound better than you don't need to. If it's of value and it's of substance to that person,
Powerful.
The person will pay whatever dollar amount it is because it's important to them,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what they see the value in, and that it's enough, And I think when you live with that, it's, I mean, not only is it just clear your head, you're happy with who you are and what service that you're providing, but they also know what they're getting on the other side, and the expectation is set from day one. And that's where the long-lasting relationships usually typically come from.
Yeah. I think it's a great place to kind of end this conversation, is just recognizing, that it is incredibly powerful to lead with your heart and lead with authenticity and lead with real value. And when you have real value, the conversation is easy. The flow is happening, right?
And you don't need a big network.
You don't need a big network. You don't need all the salt and pepper. You don't need all the tricks and, sales techniques and all this kind of stuff, right? It's a very simple process because you can truly serve, right? And help and provide real value to that person, that business, that you're working with. And all of a sudden, as a result of that, you get to, build your large network. You get to knock over the smallest domino with somebody that and it turns into the next and the next and the next. And I think that's exactly what we're doing here, man. I appreciate your wisdom on this, and you've always been a straight shooter. I know you said that. That's one of the things I always appreciate with you is you always tell it the way it is. You don't sugarcoat it. You don't salt and pepper anything. Like, no, this is what I got. You like it, great. You don't like it, great. I think that's just the reality of it. And we can lead from that place. I think that we're all better off. So,
well, I appreciate always just chatting and providing different like methods and approaches, because there's not one right way.
Mm-hmm.
There's a million ways you can skin a cat, and I always like to tell people and to leave to end on here is every single person you deal with is a different person. They come from a different background. They have different beliefs. They have different experiences in life. So the most important thing is the truth, share the value, and they make that decision based on, is it important to them or not? Because how I talk to you is different to how I talk to someone else. How I whatever I have to as far as a solution to provide for you is, it some things might not be, right for you today, but it could be in 6 months' time.
Yeah.
And someone else, it could be, I needed that yesterday. But you're saying the exact same thing, but it just might not hit. But yeah.
Sales is always done one-to-one.
Yeah.
Not one-to-many. You're not screaming from the rooftop. You're just having a simple conversation, an authentic conversation. And I appreciate this conversation.
Of course.
Awesome,
Anytime.
brother. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks for tuning into the My Gig podcast. If you got value from today's conversation, make sure to follow, subscribe, and share this episode with someone who's ready to take control of their income. You want to learn more about joining the My Gig movement? Head to joinmygig.com to get started. We'll be back soon with more real conversations, real strategies, and real stories from the front lines of the new economy. Until then, keep showing up, keep leveling up, and keep helping others win.